So, before we begin Perek Daled, before we begin chapter 4 of the book of Yehoshua, we must make a few comments. So we're putting things here in proper proportion. And that is, so many times the Tanakh repeated the carrying of the Aron, the carrying of the Aron, the Aron HaBrit, Aron HaBrit. Time, I don't know how many times it's mentioned in the former chapter. It's clear that Am Yisrael is going through a big change. We're about to go into this land, into a country that we were waiting for 40 years. And it's happening miraculously. Tremendous miracle. This great miracle, led by the Kohanim carrying the Aron. And we notice two major differences to what happened during the time of the carrying of the Holy Ark in the Midbar, in the desert. We're in the desert. The Aron HaKodesh was carried by the Leviim, in the desert by the Leviim. Here, it's carried by the Kohanim. Whereas during the course of our desert travel, the Aron, while traveling, was in the middle, in the Midbar, in the desert. Here, what's leading the camp of Israel is the Aron HaBrit. This great miracle, which is of course coming from heaven, and the time that the word Aron HaBrit, Brit, it's obvious that what's about to happen is a renewal of the agreement or the contract, the Brit, between Hashem and Israel. It will be renewed, even though it was done 40 years ago at Mount Sinai. It's going to be renewed. Move a little to your right. Thank you. And why will it have to be renewed? Because Am Yisrael is about to realize its historical role, that the nation of God, with its Torah, enter into the land. The obvious result of this great miracle will certainly be the heightening of Yehoshua in the eyes of the nation. Remember, he's putting on boots of Moshe Rabbeinu, which you can't do. And it's very hard to be the leader after a Moshe Rabbeinu. After the nation is used to such a level of divinity, of miraculous life. And now the hard part of leadership is coming. We're no longer sitting back to realize on God everything. We're about to go into the land where we're going to have to sweat and work hard, or work hard and sweat. And to lead a nation with problems, with diapers, with sanitation and police and court systems, that's going to be much harder to lead, won't it, than in the obvious desert, living under this divine umbrella, the IV, the intravenous of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So certainly what's going to happen, that this great miracle will heighten the eyes, will heighten the acceptance of Yehoshua in the eyes of the nation. 3 times have we seen so far the term Vayashkem Yehoshua. What does the word Vayashkem mean? Yaakov, do you remember? Vayashkem. Lahashkem is to get up early, to rise early. Vayashkem Avraham baboker. Remember en route to the Akedah, he got up early. Vayashkem. Did you get up early today? What time? What time? 8. Did you get up early? What time? Change. Jacob, what time did you get up? 4:15 to learn in the morning. What? Wow, 4:15. What time did you get up? 4:30. I got up much later than you guys. I only got up at 5:20 or 5:25. I can't come. No, tomorrow. It's Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. You have to know that by now. In any event, Vayashkem is to get up. 3 times do we see in the first 8 chapters of Yehoshua his personality. He's getting up early. If it was conquering Yericho. Or in chapter 7 we'll learn about the war against the town Ha'ai next to Beit El. And also in chapter 8 we're going to see the greatness of Yehoshua. It's yet to be seen. Yet to be seen. Yet our chapter is beginning to shed light of Yehoshua's hard work. It's coming to testify that he's a dynamic person. He's very clever. He's well thought out. He doesn't act impulsively. We're going to see all these things, getting up early, planning out, etc. In verse 10, gentlemen, of the chapter that we just read, Pasuk Yud, remember we read a very special verse. Vayomer Yehoshua bezot teidun ki elchai b'kirbechem v'oreish yorish mipnechem, etc., etc. This verse, so that you shall, what does it remind us? Bezot teidun, you shall know. Reminds us of a phrase that appears a lot in the 10 plagues. Leman teida, leman teidu. You shall know that you shall know of, etc. Just like during the 10 plagues, we knew that there's no God in the world like the God of Israel. So too, we're going to know here in the miracle of the splitting of the sea, the strength of the God of Israel. We have a living God amongst you. We see parallel between what's happening now, Yehoshua and the nation, to what happened to us in Mitzrayim, the beginning of our essence as a nation. Now, one more thing I want to share with you. 5 or 6 points that I learned by one of my Rabbis, Rabbi Remer, a great Tanakh teacher, passed away some 15 years ago. He was a great teacher in the Yeshiva High School of Rav Kook over here, a few blocks away. In the Merkaz Rav Yeshiva High School. There's a Yeshiva High School. What? For high school boys. Yeah. Tigers, they're lions. What? Yeah. They're all very, very, very top-notch kids. One of the top kids of the country go to that Yeshiva High School. There are other very good Yeshiva High schools, but it's part of the best system. In any event, Rav Remer draws, I want to share with you things that are common and different between Kriyat HaYarden, the splitting of the Yarden, to the Kriya of Yam Suf, the splitting of Yam Suf. Do you remember what brought the splitting of Yam Suf? Moshe Rabbeinu raised his staff, almost like a threat. And then what did Hashem start doing? The weather report said, Shalom, this is the weather report next to Yam Suf. We have easterly winds gusting up to how many knots? I don't know. But very strong easterly winds. That's what it says. Vayolech Hashem et ruach, Hashem brought stormy winds. That's how it happened. Storm. That's how Yam Suf happened. How did the splitting of the Yarden happen? Also with a storm? Soft. All the Kohanim did is put their what? Feet on the Yarden, and there were breaks. All of a sudden it was like a dam. The waters up north stood up. So it happened through rest and delicacy, something very delicate. Number 2. At Yam Suf, do you remember? Was the nation all united before the miracle? Or were there people complaining, oh, we're going to die, or let's go, remember? The famous Ramban or the Midrash says, Am Yisrael was divided into 4 groups. Should we suicide? Should we go back? Should we give up? Remember? Did you learn about that ever? Yes, it says it literally in the Chumash. We learned about it. Am Yisrael was divided into groups. Here, everyone come on. Everyone assembles next to the bank of the Jordan River. And everyone is assembled around the what? The Aron HaKodesh. What is it showing? Unity, harmony. A big difference, isn't there? Third, what happened the night before the splitting of Yam Suf? People were filled with fear. They didn't know. The sea's in front of us. The Egyptian army's in back of us. People were screaming, we're in fear. What's happening here the night before? People probably sleeping very good on their mattresses. I don't know what exactly they had. But it was the rest of the body and the rest of the soul in preparation to march into the land of Israel and realize the national dream. A big difference. Tell me, the matter of preparation. Was there preparation for the splitting of the Red Sea? Did we know that the Red Sea, that Yam Suf was going to be split? We didn't know. Right? There was no preparation. What's going to happen? We didn't know exactly about the great event. What about here? Is there preparation?
Yeah, 3 days.
3 days. The shotrim, the police officers, remember, they go around and say, prepare yourselves. So you prepare yourselves emotionally, physically, right? We're going to be traveling, and we're told that Hashem will do wonders, and the Jordan will be split. So, please join us. So everyone is now in anticipation. Everyone now is ready. We know the future. Look, when you don't know the future, tell me if you're right. You're a little unstable. You're a little at unrest. You're a little nervous. Right? Excited. That's what happened in Yam Suf. We didn't know the splitting of the sea, what's going to happen, and therefore people were nervous. There was no preparation for it. And by the way, only when did the Red Sea split? Beautiful. Who was it? Nachshon, the son of Aminadab. Very good. From the tribe of Yehuda. Nachshon ben Aminadab, he was the Mark Spitz of that generation. He, what?
He went up to his neck.
Exactly, that's what the Midrash says. And when I think the water went up to his nose, the Midrash says it, and then the water split. So there was no preparation, there was no readiness, people were nervous. You know what? Even Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know exactly what's going to happen. All he said, Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem yilachem lachem ve'atem tacharishon. Hashem will fight for you, meaning God will do the war for you, and you guys just be quiet. But he didn't know what's going to happen. The opposite happened here at the Jordan River. The Shotrim passed around and prepared the nation for traveling after the Kohanim, and therefore Hashem tells Yehoshua, God's going to do wonders. The Jordan will split. That we saw literally in verse 13 in our chapter. In verse 13 in our chapter, okay, we're told exactly that God communicates to Yehoshua and tells him in advance what's going to happen. So when you know what's going to happen, you're ready, emotionally, physically. There's more harmony. There's more tranquility happening here. Therefore, it'll be less difficult for Yehoshua to win the confidence of the nation. because he's able to transmit the message. Relax. Hashem is watching over us, and we don't need a Jordan ferry ship to cross. We're going to cross through a miracle. Next. As far as the roads are concerned, what does the Midrash tell us regarding the actual Yam Suf? Was it everyone crowding together in one highway?
The seabed was dry and wide and jelly like.
How wide was it according to the Midrash, the oral Torah? You can bring a chair, sir. How you can go get a chair.
50 or more?
No, does anyone remember reading a Midrash? How many lanes were there? Were 12. Why 12? For the 12 tribes. That's what happened. In other words, like we say in English, the highway was split into how many lanes? 12 lanes. Is that unity? Or is that being split up? What do you think? They're both. So you see both. The Midrash says here, the Alkut Shimoni, regarding the Yarden, that there was only one lane. How do you understand the difference? One lane in the Yarden, as opposed to 12 lanes in Yam Suf.
One nation.
Very nice. That's how I understood it from my Rav, that the nation is much more uniform, organized together. There's more unity now. One nation. We're about to be realizing it going to the land. That's represented even in the way we go in one lane, as opposed to Yam Suf, 12 lanes. Interesting, isn't it? Very interesting idea. Open up to Tehillim 114, please. Tehillim Kuf Yudalet 114. In Tehillim, we're going to see a paragraph that we state and use in the Hallel service. Do you recall in the Hallel service? Can I sit with you together, please? Thank you. These first two paragraphs, 113 and 114, are incorporated in the Hallel. We read the Hallel on Yom Tov, on happy occasions, remember? The first paragraph is very universal. And the second paragraph is a nice comparison between Yetziat Mitzrayim and the splitting of the sea of Yam Suf and also the Jordan. Let's look at it together. Here in Pasuk Dalid, do you see? Pasuk Gimel, I'm sorry. Hayam Ra'a Vayanos. The sea saw. What did the sea see? What did it see? It saw the winds, the might of God. And what did it do? Vayanos. What happened to the sea? It was driven back. It fled. It went away. You don't know which one I'm talking about? I'm in 114, the next chapter. Okay? Hayam ra'a vayanos. When do you use the verb to flee? When do you use the verb to flee? In what instance? When you're scared. When you're scared, vayanos. You flee, you run away. That's what it means. What does it say regarding the Jordan? Hayarden Yisov le'achor. The Jordan was driven back. This idea, King David is sharing with us that if we compare Kriyat Yamsuf, the splitting of the sea, and Kriyat HaYarden, the splitting of the Jordan, we see there was a lot of fear and tension without preparation going on to Am Yisrael before the splitting of the sea. And it's even expressing itself in nature, as if the waters were full of fear. And what did they do? They ran away. That's what King David is writing. Do you see it? Hayam Ra'a Vayanos. It was a trembling situation that had an impact even on nature. Of course, the result of Am Yisrael being saved caused the pouring out of the hearts and thanking Hashem in the song of Shirat Hayam, Azia Shir Moshe. The nation poured out and expressed their thanks because they were in a state of, we're going to die. Okay? So being saved from death, there was a lot of tremendous tension that existed. Okay? Did that happen here? We're learning Yehoshua Perek Gimel and about to learn Perek Dalet. Do you see a song of the splitting of the sea? Of the Jordan River? Yes or no? You're going to say, the splitting of the Jordan River is a much lower level. There was no prophetic song being sung. Is that true? Is that how you compare the two? No. Why isn't there a prophetic song being sung here? Because the song of Shirat Hayam was saying, thank you Hashem, you saved us. But here, we were not in a existence of danger, were we? Was anyone chasing after us? Was there any tension? No. We were cool. You know what the word cool means? You know what the word cool means? We were cool. We were what? Okay. No tension, no trembling, no fear. We're being told in advance. So therefore, Rabbi Remer says, in comparison between the two splittings, we're seeing that the same powers of God that were revealed before the acceptance of Torah, there at the Red Sea, are now, and they were done at the splitting of the sea forcibly, coercingly, with winds, and there was tensions going on. Those same powers of God are now being revealed benachat. What does nachat mean? Peacefully, calmly, with harmony in nature. Okay? Hayarden yisov leachor. The Jordan River just, what does it say in English? It went back, that's all. It wasn't fleeing, running away. It just went back. There's much more harmony. Hayarden yisov leachor is much more harmony. Do you see it in the difference in the words, gentlemen? Okay? Okay? The sea fled, Yamsuf fled. But the Arden was driven back. Just driven back. Much more harmony. What I want to share with you, and that's the last point before we go to the new chapter. The land of Israel and godliness, there's a common entity. Nature and godliness in the land of Israel go together. We're going to be learning that unlike here at the Jordan, nature in the land of Israel does not have to be disrupted, does not have to be stopped, because godliness will be revealed through nature in the land of Israel much more, where when we're in the desert, there is no nature and godliness. Everything was supernatural in the desert. But we're going to be learning that our lives in the land of Israel have to be managed through the course of nature. We're not going to be sitting back, oh God, bring us some cucumbers down from heaven. Can I order a pizza? with garlic and onions and let it come. No, it's not going to happen in Israel. In Israel, we're going to work. We're going to work hard. We're going to sweat. But we're going to reveal the godliness through sowing, through planting. God's going to bring down rain. And we're going to have plenty and affluence by serving Hashem and learning Torah. God's going to supervise over me. He's going to bless me through nature. He's blessing the nation of Israel. Here, we're not going to rely on miracles. So it's interesting to see, as the introduction to the land of Israel, we are already seeing, even though it's a miracle happening, we're already seeing some harmony between nature and godliness when Am Yisrael is just placing their foot in their yarding. Any questions or points, gentlemen? Okay, let's now go to Perek Daled, please. Chapter 4. Please read quickly the first 10 verses. And tell me what is the major subject or topic here in Perek Daled. What is the major topic here? How many stones? 12 stones. 12 avanim. How many memorials do you see here? 1 or 2? 2 memorials will be established. 1, 12 stones will be established where? We'll learn about, they'll be brought to Gilgal. And 1 memorial, a zikaron, will be established inside the where? Inside the Yarden, the Jordan River. Okay? Inside the Jordan River. Now, let's just briefly, see. Pasuk Daled, Pasuk Aleph, I'm reading. Vayikasher tamu chol hagoy lavor et hayarden, vayomer Adonai el Yehoshua lemor. By the way, as the nation, goy is the word used, isn't it? Goy. And not which term? Am does not appear. Rather, the word goy appears. I think that I've seen in several places, the Netziv of Volozhin mentions it. The word goy is a nation that has a spiritual role. When the nation has its spiritual role, then we're called a goy. God's promise to Avram Avinu, chapter 12 of Bereshit, verse 2. Ve'escha legoy gadol. I shall make you into a great nation. And the word goy is written here. Do you remember? Goy, not am. A nation that has a spiritual task and designation or role. Why are we called a goy now? We're passing the Jordan together with what? The Aron. With the Torah. We're beginning to realize our designation. A nation with its Torah. That's why we're called a goy. Of course it's positive. You're right. There it's referring to the nations of the world. The Tanakh often uses for the other nations of the world not Am, but the word Goy or Goyim, as you see in many books of prophecy. Many books of prophecy. So it didn't make me one of the other nations. Okay. Gentlemen. Let's see what happens. Kechu lachem, vayomer Hashem Yehoshua lemor. He's speaking to Yehoshua. Kechu lachem min ha'am, take from the nation, Shnei Masar Nashim, 12 people, Ish Echad Mishavet. Try to follow the Hebrew, please, as well. Verse 3, Vitzavu otam lemor, Se'u lachem, Mizeh. Raise up, Mitoch HaYarden, from the Jordan River, Mimatzav Raglei HaKohanim, the area where the Kohanim are standing, Hachin Shtei Avanim, prepare 12 stones. Vavartem otam imachem, transfer them with you. Vinachtem otam b'malon asher talinu vo alayla. Obviously, the first memorial we're going to be learning about is not the 12 stones to be placed in the Jordan, but do you know 12 stones going to be brought to which hotel? A motel? Which Malone? It doesn't say here, but you know the first place that we're going to be camping? In Gilgal. Gilgal, just east of Yericho. However, the Talmud, the oral Torah tells us that the stones that we're taking now that are being commanded are really the stones that Moshe Rabbeinu was commanded in the book of Devarim to take 12 stones and transport them to the Shomron, to where? To the city of Shechem, on top of the mountain called we spent the Shabbat last summer, remember? Har Eval. Har Eval, a Mizbeach will be built by Yehoshua for the purpose of renewing the Brit, renewing the covenant. Now, I must tell you right now, even though this great event appears chapters later on, this great event appears chapters later on, the oral Torah, the Talmud tells us in Masechet Sotah, the same day, this day, we're passing the Jordan River, we're taking these 12 stones, we're traveling the entire nation up to the Shomron, to to Shechem, right? You know where it is? You know where it is? Shechem? Shechem is the center of the Shomron. It's about 40 kilometers east. Oh, you were with us in Itamar? What? We went on a Shabbaton last year. You were there? I thought you only arrived in September. Planting trees in Itamar, you're right. You're right. So we saw the area of Shechem there, you're right. So, you should know that what Yehoshua is now commanding, he's really reiterating what God told Moshe Rabbeinu, that when you cross the Jordan River, you are to go to the area of two great mountains, in the city of Shechem, Har Eval to the north, Har Grizim to the south, and reinstate the Brit between the nation and God, now again in the land of Israel. These 12 stones were going. We had the pleasure last summer to visit the area, and new archaeological foundings have been made that hit the world. They found the altar and stones that go back to the time of Yehoshua. Great archaeologist found it. How many years ago? I don't remember the story. Several years ago, they found, we saw with binoculars, the area of these stones taken out of the Jordan River, big stones, and that was sacrificed on top of Mount Eval by Yehoshua ben Nun and the nation. So, these first stones that we're talking about, Rashi brings Chazal, that we traveled from Gilgal all the way up to the Shomron, made the order of blessings and curses and the acceptance of the Brit again, and we came back on a round-trip ticket without Eged buses, and we came all the way back to Gilgal, just east of Yericho. So we're talking about, what a trip, on one day, all the way up and back down. That's what the And then we're going to be parking in the Malone in Gilgal. Let's go on. Pasuk Dalet, verse 4. Okay? Vayomer lem Yehoshua ivru lifnei Aron Adonai Elohechem el toch hayarden varimu lochem ish even achat al shichmo lemispar shiftei Yisrael. Here's the command to these 12 people to go before the Aron Hashem. Where is the Aron Hashem? Inside the Jordan River. And there each of these 12 people will raise up a what? A stone. And put it on his shoulder and take it out, etc. Now, where shall it be put? Let's keep on reading. V'leman tiyazod ot b'kirvechem ki yishalun b'nechem machar leimor ma avadim ha'ele lachem. If the purpose of this memorial is, if you'll be asked by your children during the generations after, what's the idea of these stones? Zion, verse 7, V'amartem lem, you shall tell them, Asher nichrotu meimei hayarden mipnei Aron Brit Adonai, be'ovro ba'yarden, nichrotu me'yarden, v'yu avanim eile lizikaron, livnei Yisrael adolam. A memorial for eternity. Pasuk Chet, Vayasu chen b'nei Yisrael, they do so, Kasher tziva Yehoshua vayisu shtei esrei avanim mitoch hayarden kasher diber Adonai el Yehoshua lemispar shiftei bnei Yisrael vayavirum imam el malon. They bring them to the hotel. Vayinichum sham. They place these 12 stones at the motel. And here we see the second set of stones in verse 9. Ushtei esrei avanim ekim Yehoshua b'toch hayarden tachat matzav raglei hakohanim nosei Aron Habrit. Vayusham ad ayom azeh. The 12 stones in the Jordan are there until this very day. What's this very day? When it says ad ayom azeh in the Tanakh, it's referring to when the book of Yehoshua was written. And it was written generations later by Yehoshua, a few generations later. So until the book was written, that's what it means, ad hayom azeh. My dear friends, the miracle of the splitting of the Jordan was only something temporary. The waters did not remain split for generations. Rather, the waters returned to their original places. Why? Because the objective was fulfilled. The nation was to see the glory of God. Yehoshua as a leader will be strengthened in the eyes of the nation, and therefore there's no more reason to have nature altered, and therefore the waters will come back. And therefore the flow of nature, which is not mechanical nor superficial. Nature is a force. Nature is the might of God. Okay? And Hashem wants us to see the glory of Hashem's nature every day. And to know that nature is a miracle going on every day. Are you floating up in the air? Why not? The laws of gravity. That's interesting. Who summoned the laws of gravity? Hashem did. If He doesn't want it, you're going to be floating. You'll be a Luftmenschen. You'll be with your feet up in the air. But Hashem wants nature to go. We are to see the nature of God every day. Nature is hidden, so Hashem wants us to train our eyes to see Hashem inside hidden nature. Here, we have two miracles that are happening. Two memorials that are being commanded by Yehoshua to the nation. Hashem is commanding Yehoshua, Yehoshua is commanding the nation. One memorial will be revealed, and that is Hashem is commanding the establishment of these heap of stones on the bank of the Jordan River. Why? To remember that these rivers, these waters in the river, The waters were split. That's one memorial. So we'll be able to see the stones. That's one memorial. The second memorial is Yehoshua is commanding this memorial that these stones be placed inside the what? Inside the Jordan River. Inside the Jordan River. Now, aside from the great water museum that we have in Eilat, have you been there? What kind of what's the name of the type of museum? What is it called? An aquarium? Not an aquarium. What is it called? It's called what? Is it? I forgot the name of the museum. And anyway, in that museum, you go down below, and you can see through the glass windows the Red Sea, the corals, the fish, the sea. Have you been there before? You know what I'm talking about, Jonathan? Have you been there yet? You want to go? Maybe we'll go together. I once took our students, I programmed, had okay from the office. I programmed once a trip, but not in the summer. The summer's too hot. We did it in the spring, it was too hot. I remember my wife gave birth, and a few days later we went, but without my wife. I programmed, and you know when we left? We took a busload of our students and a few teachers. We left 12 o'clock midnight, Thursday night. We arrived to Eilat 5 in the morning or something like that. We davened at breakfast. We went on a trip from like 6 to 9 in the morning in the Red Mountains. You know what the Red Mountains are there? I think it's called the Red Mountains. And then we visited the underground, it's called Underground Water Museum. I don't know what it's called in English. What is it called? Undersea. I don't know what it's called. It's better. In any event, we went to see there, and then we were supposed to go snorkeling on the beach. And it was like 2 o'clock. And I didn't really know too much about programs. My earliest is like 15 years ago. And it was burning hot outside. You know what the weather is in Eilat in the summer? We had to cancel. We went back to our rooms. And then from 2 to 4 we were in our rooms. And I was nervy. Let's do it again. Let's try to do it before Shabbos. And we went snorkeling like from 4 to 5. Came back quickly to shower, get a rest, and go to shul in Eilat. It was one of the greatest Shabbatonim that I programmed in my life. It was something really spectacular. And anyway, I don't recommend to do it in the summer. It's too hot. It's too hot. In the winter, it's okay to do it.
It's too cold though, isn't it?
Anyway, you're going to have to come back. In any event, I'll see the chance. We're not going to do it now. Maybe September. I don't know. In any event, I'm just getting your appetites wet for a nice teal or something. But don't be disappointed if we're not doing it yet. In any event, one memorial hidden. And one memorial, 12 stones inside the Jordan River, and there's no underground museum with glass windows that you can see the 12 stones. The 12 stones, by definition, will be submerged, hidden. What idea is this? There are things that your eyes need to see and to remember. But the fact that Yehoshua is commanding 12 stones, by the order of God as well, to be put inside the Jordan River, which is a hidden memorial, that means we, the nation of Israel, what we have to do is put this idea that the God's force of nature is hidden, is not revealed. We have to place that in our souls, that Hashem is hidden, Hashem is not revealed. And we get to understand that God's force is hidden. Then we can understand what's going on in our lives. We can understand things that are happening externally in nature. We have to know where the powers are being drawn from. They're being drawn from hidden forces. Hashem is working in a hidden way, of course, all the time. We make a bracha over that every day. In the blessing of the Shema, Yotzer Or Uvorei Choshech. God is creating what? Light. right? And darkness and the stars, etc. So therefore, we have to know the powers of God. Now, one more point, and then we'll end our shiur. Here, in verse 11, it says, "Vayavor Aron Hashem b'kohanim lifnei ha'am." We're going to have to treat this question. Is this a repetition? Didn't the nation pass through the Jordan River? What's going on? Well, some say, we'll open up our shiur next time as well with this. After the nation crossed the Jordan River, and they now arrived on the west side of the Jordan, and they're now on the shore on the west side, they're waiting patiently for the Kohanim, for the Aron to pass in front of them. In other words, they're not going up front, and the Aron Brit is going to be in the back or in the middle. They're standing there and waiting for the Aron to pass. And only when the Aron Hashem will be before the nation, only then will the nation forward, progress, walking west. And that's going to talk as a very big idea here to show us what's leading us inside Eretz Yisrael is the Torah. Not the cloud of glory, but the Kohanim carrying the Torah. We'll continue with this point, B'ezrat Hashem, in our next shiur.